get started. So everyone, thank you for joining us today. So we're going to have Ellen go over some campaigns that she's seen have been really successful and kind of give you an idea of how you would walk through it for any renewals. I know we have people on from Bridgeport, and they're going to be walking you through one with an automotive campaign that they recently did that went really well. So hopefully you guys get something out of this. If you have any questions for the Bridgeport team afterward, you can reach out to me and I can connect you with them, or if we have anything now, we can always do on it during the presentation. So Ken, you want to take us away?
Yes, thank you so much. Hey guys, how's it going? Happy Friday. This is Carolyn from Bridge, and what I want to talk to you guys about today is really just to take you through the way I pitch people-based marketing and geofencing. I feel like these two different strategies combined, especially when combined with radio, can make a really effective media plan for most advertisers. So that's why a lot of times I'll include geofencing in my people-based marketing pitch. I changed my pitch slightly. As I've been going through and meeting with so many different advertisers from so many different markets all over the country, I've found that it's really effective if you can master how to talk about our differentiators. That always seems to be what sells the advertisers on our product. So the pitch that I'm going to take you through today focuses a lot on some of the key differentiators that we're able to offer that most other marketing companies cannot offer the advertisers. And those things include our database, the reporting, the proof of ROI, and again, there are some things with geofencing that we can offer because that's an extremely popular product out there right now, but there are ways that we can do it differently that, in my opinion, bring a lot more benefit to the advertiser. So I will jump into the pitch. So people-based marketing, I'm going to start the pitch talking about people-based marketing and then go into geofencing separately after a few slides. But for me, people-based marketing was such a refreshing, game-changing approach to digital advertising. I personally have been selling digital advertising for about 10 years, and when I was introduced to people-based marketing, it felt like a breath of fresh air came through, because with traditional digital advertising, we ran into a problem where advertisers had to figure out who they were trying to reach and then make a prediction where their audience was going to be online. And a lot of marketing companies will go into an advertiser and they pitch a specific channel, or they'll pitch a device or social network, and they'll say something like, you should be serving ads on Facebook because everybody's on Facebook. Social media is so popular, you should be putting your entire advertising budget towards social media. Or you should be doing YouTube. Video has the highest retention rate, so you've got to include digital video ads into your advertising mix. Or you should be on mobile because everybody has a mobile device, and the majority of all internet activity is over 8% on mobile today, so you should put your budget towards mobile. But the reality is that even if your higher target audience is interested in buying the same type of product or using the same type of service, shopping with the same brand, that does not mean that the entire target audience is going to be interacting online the exact same way. So that is the refreshing part of people-based marketing. We're not trying to predict where the entire audience is going to be and then just serve ads on that device or on that channel. What people-based marketing allows us to do is identify that target audience who's likely an intender of your product or who is going to need your service or shop at your company or your brand. And we identify who those individual people are, we can serve them a totally customized digital ad campaign to each individual person based on the devices that we know they own and all of the things they tend to do on all of their devices. So if one person in the target audience is a huge social media user and they always browse social media from their iPhone, we know that about them. So we're going to serve that person ads on their iPhone on social media channels. If there's somebody else who's a huge app user and they're constantly using apps for exercising and navigating and booking flights and hotels or shopping on Amazon or checking sports scores. We know that about that person, so we'll serve that person their ads through their apps that they use the most often. And if somebody else has a laptop and they constantly browse the internet during certain hours of the work week, we know that about them, so we will serve that person their ads that way. But it's totally unique for each person, and that's the game changer that is people-based marketing. That's how it's so different from every other type of digital advertising, where you just put your entire budget towards one specific channel and then hope that your target audience shows up there to see it. I hate this slide. I hate this slide because it's super wordy, but I love showing it because it includes a lot of really key information, and I think it's a great slide to include to send your advertiser because they can use it as a reference later on if they want to go back and another look at what exactly people-based marketing is. But what this slide explains is our database. And the database is so important because it's truly the foundation of everything we're able to do with people-based marketing. If we did not have a database as sophisticated and robust as we have, we would not be able to build these campaigns out. So it's talk about it and make sure that your clients understand that Cumulus has a huge nationwide, massive consumer database that has over 200 million records in it. Every person who's in our database has at some point proactively opted in to be a part of it. So that's really important because that's what prevents our emails from going into their spam folders. Because they have opted in to be in our database, they're going to go right into their inbox. The thing that's important to note is that we did not purchase any of the data in our database. We didn't buy any email lists. We didn't pay for any of the information. And that's really important because a lot of email marketing companies out there do just that. They buy email lists, and they don't have any control over when the last time they were updated. They don't know if they're accurate. They don't know when the last time they were scrubbed was. They don't know if it's been cross-checked or verified. So you might, as an advisor, work with an email marketing company that just bought an email list, and you're sending out emails to what you think is your target audience, and then you find out later that half the emails bounced back, they're no longer active, or the audience isn't even relevant to who you thought you were targeting. So they wasted your entire advertising budget. But with our database, we're in control of the whole thing. We've built it up organically over time. And again, we didn't buy any of the information or pay for it, and we're very protective of it. Once it's in our database, we give out the information or resell it to anybody else. So we take it seriously, and we follow all of the privacy laws for the consumers who are in our database. So as we're gathering this information on all of the consumers who are in our database, we separate the information and collect the information in 3 different categories. 3 categories of information on each person are offline data, online data, and mobile data. So the offline data is collected through our direct partnerships with other data companies like Axiom and Infogroup. They are experts at analyzing offline consumer information. And every single week, they're sending us literally hundreds and thousands of data records. And the things that are included in the offline data could be information taken from, census data, political information. In-store purchases is a huge one. So if somebody actually goes to a shopping mall or goes to a brick and mortar and makes a purchase, we don't have their credit card information that they're using when they make the purchase, but we do know what types of stores they're shopping in, what types of products they're buying, and how frequently they buy them. So if we're trying to target somebody who buys a certain type of food, like organic foods or healthy foods or sports equipment or children's clothing or a certain type of vehicle or, anything like that, you can tell so much about people based on what they're buying every day in stores. also know what type of family structure they have, if they're military, what type of house they live in, the home value, where they live, what their occupation is. All that information falls in the offline data category. And again, every week we're getting this information, and all of it is tied to the person's first and last name, their street address, and their email address. Part of the information that we're collecting is the online data, and we get this information through our direct partnership with Nielsen. Nielsen is an expert at analyzing cookie data, and it is something in everybody's internet browser that tracks everything that you're doing on the internet. So that you're Googling or searching for on Bing or Yahoo, articles you're reading, blogs you're following, things you're purchasing online, social networks that you visit every day, brands you're following, all of that is tracked. And every single week, Nielsen is sending us this information, which is tied to your IP address, your first and last name, and your email address. Instead of using your first and last name and your email address as the glue that links all of this information together. The third category of information is the mobile. And this is a game changer. This is a big differentiator. Not a lot of other marketing companies have figured out how to access this data and then tie it to the online and the offline. And that's why our database is so key, because we're able to collect so much more information on each individual person who's in our database. And every single week, I have direct partnerships with mobile app companies and mobile app developers, and every week they're sending us mobile information, because consumers don't realize this often, but every time you download an app on your phone, that app company or the app developer gets an inside look at what's on your phone. So every app you have, how often you use each app, information is sent to us with your unique mobile device ID, as well as the name that's registered to that mobile device, as well as the email address that's registered to that mobile device. So having all of this information is really key for two big reasons. The first reason is, again, it allows us to target extremely narrowly, and that's why we're able to target based on people who use, a fitness app every single day, or maybe you want people who are using music apps because you want to promote a concert that's coming up at your local station or in your market, or you want to target people that are buying certain products, or people that have a particular lifestyle or earn a certain household income, or who have a certain type of family. All information is available at our fingertips, and we can target the right people who should be receiving our advertisement. The thing that benefits us from having this insanely robust database is the ability to serve the ads extremely effectively. Because we know every device that's linked to each person in the database, we can serve each person the ads the way they want to receive them on the devices where they typically tend to engage with advertisements, and on the channels where they have a history of engaging with ads. So it allows us to target better and serve the ads more efficiently. Okay, so I've talked about all of the data and the information. I'll show you what an actual campaign looks like. And I do want to start off by saying no campaign is identical. No two campaigns are identical. Nothing that we do is cookie cutter. So every single campaign or media plan that we build for every single advertiser we work with is totally customized, and there's so much that we consider when we're putting this together. I mean, we have to look at the market they're in, the level of competition in the market, what the offer is, what their budget is, the creative, the time of year, the economy, the product or the service that they're promoting, the audience that we're trying to reach. All of those things make a difference in how we decide to put this together. But the majority of our campaigns include two phases. There's the email phase and then a multi-channel phase. And more often than not, the first phase is the email. And I think this is a really smart way to kick a campaign off, because for two big reasons. The first reason is email is viewed by consumers as a non-invasive form of advertising. So 80% of consumers check their email at least once a day, and when they have time to do it and when they want to do it. When we send somebody an email and it goes right into their inbox and they see that subject line and they choose to open it because it's interesting to them, the guard is going to be down. They're not feeling like they're being slapped in the face with unwanted advertisements. They chose to open it and look at it. So they're going to have a much higher retention rate. They're going to retain the information they're looking at, and they're going to be much more likely to actually engage with the ad and absorb the information and remember it. First reason why I really like email. The second reason is you have more space in an email to communicate a lot of information to your consumers and tell them why they should choose your business over the other 100 local businesses that sell the exact same product or offer the same service. So in an email, you can put things like customer testimonials. You could put video. You could do a photo gallery. You could do before and after pictures. You could do so many different things in the email. You could even promote several different offers or upcoming sales that you have. And you wouldn't really be able to communicate all this because with typical digital banner ads, the ads are so teeny tiny that you just don't have enough space to communicate all that. But email really allows you to hook the interest of the consumer and tug at their heartstrings, tell a story in an engaging way, and that's why it's a great kickoff to a campaign. The downside to email that I ever saw, and as you guys all know this because you're involved in radio, frequency is extremely important. You got to keep hitting your consumers over and over and over again with the ad, otherwise they're going to forget all about it the second they get distracted. So that's the only downside to email. Even if you send an email every week, it seems every consumer today has ADD. Everybody's got a million different devices. There's a million different things going on. And as soon as they look away from that email, they're going to eventually forget that they saw it. So that's why it's important to introduce the multi-channel ads. This is what's going to give them the high frequency and what's going to eventually lead to the conversions. So email is the thing that hooks interest and catches their attention, but the multi-channel ads is the piece that really drives the conversion and gets them to buy the product or buy the ticket or visit your store or pick up the phone and call you or fill out that application. So what happens is, as soon as we deploy the email, the entire audience who received it, whether they've opened it yet or not, is now going to start receiving these high-frequency multi-channel banner ads. And these are the ads that are going to be served across all of the devices that they own and on all of the channels that they're using the most often. And this part that's going to be customized to each individual person. Channels that are included are desktop and mobile websites, mobile apps, native advertising, which is what we talked about last week, video channels, Facebook, and Instagram. I do get a lot of questions about what native ads are and what we mean by video, so highlight those. So a native ad is an ad that actually gets 50%, it's 53% more likely to be seen than a typical banner ad. And the reason for this is because it's basically an ad that will appear on a website or a mobile site or sometimes an app where it's placed within the content of the web page so that it looks like a natural part of the page that the consumer wants to be looking at. So it's basically just an ad that's disguised so that it blends in with the natural content. And the idea is if the consumer is looking at a web page, let's say they're reading an article on CNN.com, they're there because they're interested in the article and they want to be reading it. So place the ad between two paragraphs or at the bottom of the article where they have other suggested articles that I might be interested in. I'm much more likely to see it. But banner ads are easy to ignore because they're at the very top of the screen or they're off to the side and my eyeballs can easily just not look at them. So that native ad is. It's disguised to blend in with the natural content of the site so that eyeballs are more likely to see it. So, I know you all know what video pre-roll is, but our video is much more than that. It could be video pre-roll, so we could serve an ad on a channel like YouTube, but it could also be an ad on any website or app that allows video ads. So it could be, again, in between two paragraphs. It could be off in the bottom corner of the website. Times you'll see a video ad in the bottom corner, but it stays there. If you're scrolling down the page, the ad will stay there, so always be visible to consumer. Could also be served on a video streaming device, so especially if the target audience includes millennials. As millennials today are not signed for cable TV packages. Instead, they're doing things like using a Google Chromecast, or they're getting YouTube TV, or they're using a Roku, or they're streaming. So digital ads could also be seen on any of those devices while people are watching TV digitally. Okay. So that was all of the information about people-based marketing. People-based marketing is advertising that's tied to our database. It all comes from the database that I described earlier. What I want to talk about now is the totally separate digital strategy that's extremely effective. This is a great spin on how to target an audience, but it's nothing to do with our database. So that's important to remember. This is completely separate from the database. What geofencing is it's a digital strategy where we can actually select specific areas on a map and place an invisible fence around those actual locations. What happens is any consumer that goes inside that fence, that will be picked up in our system, and we can serve that person advertisements. So one of the differentiators with our version of geofencing is that we can get as small as 20 meters in size, which is extremely targeted. It's very small. So if you have a client, let's say it's an auto dealer, and he wants to target competing dealerships, most companies can only get as small as 100 meters in size. 100 meters is a huge area. That's been a lot of dealerships. So working with another company that offers geofencing, and the dealer wants to geofence his competing dealerships, not only is he going to geofence the competing dealerships, but he's also probably going to geofence the grocery store next door or the business across the street. And that's not good. You don't want to serve ads to consumers who are not relevant. That's when consumers get annoyed by ads, when they're not relevant. So it's key to make sure that our clients are aware that we can get much smaller than most companies, that we really make sure we're only fencing the specific areas where the target audience is going to be. Another differentiator is that our geofences do not have to be a circle. A lot of other companies simply put a radius around a point, a giant circle. And the problem with that is you're going to get a ton of, more companies, or you're going to get a ton of foot traffic that is not exactly where you want to target. So geofences can be set up by latitude and longitude coordinates, and they can be all sorts of different shapes. So if you've got a funny park, or let's say there's a big community event or a concert that we want to target, we can make sure that we set up the geofence so that it surrounds the exact boundary of the location where you want to target and not anywhere else. There's two different ways we can do geofencing. There's geofencing and geofarming. So geofencing is when we target an area, we set up that digital geofence, consumers walk into that geofence, and then we start serving those consumers ads. And the ads will be seen if the consumers start using apps on their phone, apps or websites on their phone. So that's what traditional geofencing is. There's also geofarming, which in my opinion is a much stronger, beneficial product. Geofarming means we set geofence, consumers enter, we pick them up in our system, but then we can serve them ads even after they leave, up to 30 days later. And for me, that one typically makes much more sense because let's go back to that auto dealer example. If I'm looking for a car, okay, and I'm going to different dealerships that have been geofenced. So I am a consumer now who should be receiving these ads. But if I'm looking for cars, I'm not going to be pulling out my phone to play Candy Crush. I'm busy. I'm looking at cars. So it's as likely that a consumer is going to see the ad because they're not using apps on their phone in that moment. But later, maybe 2 hours later after I go home, I might take my phone out and check the weather or buy something on Amazon or check a sports score. And then I will start seeing those ads if we do geofarming. And to me, again, that makes more sense a lot of times because, again, you want to make sure that you stay top of mind and serve a high frequency of ads. And you have a better chance of doing that if we do the geofarming method versus traditional geofencing where we only serve ads inside the fence. Okay, this is a slide that just shows a quick recap of some of our geofencing differentiators. I already went over the first two. We can be much smaller in size, and we don't have to be circular. Other thing that's a big differentiator is that we can even narrow in on the audience much deeper than just ads to the people in the fence. So let's say we want to geofence a concert, okay? So if there's a big event in your city and we geofence it and then want to farm the audience and serve them ads for 30 days to promote a product by a company that was maybe sponsoring that concert, but only want to serve ads to the females because they buy the most products in households, we can really do that. So we're not just serving ads to the entire audience who went into that fence. We can maybe just the Hispanics or just the women or just the millennials or just, an older age group or something like that, depending on what the goal of the campaign is. Another thing that's a differentiator is that our ads are not only going to be served on the mobile devices that the people had with them when they went into those geofenced areas. So with additional geofencing, or with the version of geofencing that 99% of other companies offer, the person who goes into a geofence is picked up in the system because they have a mobile device in their pocket or on their, in their purse or in their coat or in hand. So that mobile device that they have with them is the device that's going to receive the ads. But our version of geofencing, we can actually serve ads on their desktop computers and on other mobile devices that they own. That's a big differentiator because we can hit them more and in more places from more angles than other companies. The last one is trigger campaigns. So this is a really fun option if you have an advertiser that's really involved in their local community. Like Papa John's is a great example. They're a national pizza company. They, in every city that they advertise in, they always tie their advertisements into a local sports team. So in Denver, they do a lot of advertising based on the Broncos. In Boston, they do a ton of advertising based around the Celtics or the Patriots or the Bruins. In Minneapolis, they're going to do campaigns that are based around the Vikings, so based on the city they're in, they do different campaigns tied to that local sports team. And what a trigger campaign is we can actually have 2 different ads ready to go. And you could say something like, okay, if the Eagles win the Super Bowl, everybody in Philadelphia is going to get, a free 2-topping large pizza the day the Eagles win the Super Bowl. If the Patriots win the Super Bowl, everybody in the Boston area is going to get that deal. But in the losing team, of whatever city is the losing team, they're not going to get that great promotion. They're just going to get, a $13 cheese pizza or something like that. That's not quite as good. You can do trigger campaigns based on sports team. You could do weather-related trigger campaigns. So if you're doing a campaign with an auto company, and if it's snowing outside, they want to promote snow tires. If it's snowing outside, they promote oil change or something different. It's a fun option to keep in mind. Okay. The other huge differentiator that Cumulus can offer advertisers that most companies cannot even come close to touching is our reporting and our metrics and how we prove the ROI of a campaign. So when going through my pitch, I like to actually highlight all the different types of reports that the advertiser is going to receive throughout the life of their campaign. So the first report that they will receive is the email report. And obviously these are all, if applicable. So if their campaign includes email, they will get this report. If the campaign does not include email, they will not get this report. But this is a report that they will get with every email campaign that they do through us, and they typically will get this report 5 days after the email deploys. So this is usually the first report they see to give them an idea of how the campaign is performing. In the report, there's a screenshot on the right-hand side, and on the left, you'll see a bullet point list of all the information you can get from this report. You'll see the date it deployed, subject line, the total number of opens, the total number of unique opens. And the difference here is the total number of opens will show you exactly that, the total number of times this email was opened. So let's say I received this email and I opened it 3 times. Opened it once a day for 3 days in a row because I wanted to keep going back and looking at all the offers. That show up as a total of 3, a total opens column. The total number of unique opens is how many unique people opened it. So again, if I opened it 3 times, it would go up as 1 under the unique opens row. Same thing with clicks. You get the total number of clicks and then the total unique clicks, which is the unique people who clicked to visit the website. And then at the bottom of the report, you'll even see a breakout of all the different clickable links that are scattered throughout this email creative, and we'll be able to show you how many people clicked on each of those links. Then you'll get is the multi-channel report. So what you're looking at here on the right-hand side is a screenshot, and this shows you all of the desktop and mobile multi-channel ads that were served. So you break out of the different devices, mobile, PC, tablet, and all different ad sizes, as well as how many impressions were served to each ad unit size, how many clicks each one got, and the overall click-through rate. Then you social media report. So this, if your campaign includes Facebook or Instagram, this is what you'll get to show you how engaging your social campaign was. And I always include a breakdown at the bottom so you'll know exactly what each column tells you. But you see things like how many impressions you got on Facebook and Instagram, how many clicks, how many people engaged with the advertisement, and then also how many people clicked the ad, went to the advertiser's Facebook page, and then engaged with the actual page. See, if you towards the right, you'll see a bunch of columns that say social clicks, social impressions, social CTR or click-through rate. The social columns show the extended reach of the campaign. And this to me is awesome to see because it's basically free advertising. So what the social clicks and impressions and click-through rate mean are, like let's say me and Jason Lee from Bridgeport, who you're going to hear from in just a minute. Let's say he and I are friends on Facebook. And Jason is part of the target audience, but I'm not. I'm friends with Jason. I might see an ad on newsfeed just because I'm friends with him, even if I'm not part of the actual target audience. And that's the social impression would be. So it's basically if we send an ad to somebody in the target audience, but someone who's friends with that person or following that person sees it, that's a social impression. Or if that person clicks it, that's a social click. So we're charging the advertiser for this extended advertising. It's basically just ads that are being served and free engagement that they're getting. Okay, the matchback report. So a matchback report is one of my favorites. This shows you an Excel list of every single person who received the ad or received the email from us. So if we send out 63,274 emails, the ad is going to get a list of 63,274 names, and you'll get their first name, their last name, and their street address. You'll see exactly who received our ad, and your business, who's actually keeping track of your customers, you'll be able to match those customers back to the people who reserved our ad. And this is huge for auto dealers because every auto dealer keeps track of the names of the people who are buying cars, coming in for service appointments. And if that advertiser, if that dealership can give us the list of customers they got since the start of our campaign, we can then match those names back to this list and tell them how many people who bought a car came our campaign. Is the foot traffic attribution. So this is a great solution if the advertiser does typically keep track of the names of the people who come in their business. So something like a restaurant or a convenience store or fast food chain. You know, if I own a Dunkin' Donuts or a 7-Eleven, I'm not keeping track of the names of my patrons. I just want to know that the campaign is driving traffic into my store. So that's what foot traffic attribution will do. We're looking at on the left is a screenshot from a fast food chain we did a campaign for, and you can see that this fast food chain had several different locations. So as we were running the campaign, we were able to show the client how many people received our ad and then actually went to each location. Next report that we could include is the response data report. This looks just like a matchback report. It's got the first name, the last name, and the street address of everybody who received our email or received an ad. But we had two columns to it. We added an open column as well as a click column. And this will show you the exact names of the people who opened the email and who clicked in the email to visit the website. So if a client who really wants to do maybe like a direct mail remarketing campaign and they want to send a postcard to every person who got the email and who is an extremely hot lead and now they want to follow up and send something to the address, or they just want to know specifically who opened the email and clicked to visit the website, we can show it by name. And this one is the cross-device pixel report. This is a great solution for any advertiser who is trying to drive traffic to the website. So traditionally, pixels have been around for a really long time, and traditionally, pixels were used by advertisers to track the people who received an ad, clicked on it, and went to the website. And pixel, we can track if somebody just goes to the website in general, or if they go to a specific page, like maybe the shopping cart page, and they actually make a purchase and check out. We can actually track not only if they go to the site, but what they do on the site. The problem is, especially today, and believe it or not, especially with millennials, who don't really click on ads, not on purpose anyway. So the success of a campaign based on how many clicks you got with your ad is not really effective. Because even though people aren't clicking on ads, that doesn't mean they're not working. What consumers today are doing is they're seeing the ad and they're remembering it. Because I see an ad running around, traveling all over, and I see an ad on my iPhone for my favorite clothing stores having 40% off. I'm not going to just stop what I'm doing in the middle of an airport and start shopping that same. I don't have time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the ad, I'm going to remember it, and then later that night, I'm in front of my laptop or a bigger computer screen, then maybe I'll go to the store on my own time and I'll browse the site, see if there's anything I want to buy, and take advantage of that sale. So a cross-device pixel will do is it'll track the people who see the ad, do click on it, but still end up going to the website later, even if they go from a different device. So the itself, which you can see on the left-hand side, here's a screenshot of it. It looks just like a standard multi-channel report, but we will add two columns on the right side, and we add one column that says click conversion, and another column that says view conversion. The click conversion column will show everybody who received the ad, clicked on it immediately and went to the site. The through conversion is people who saw the ad, did not click on it, but kept going to the website and converting. And we can set it up a few different ways. So some clients drive traffic to the site. They don't care what page of the website they're on. They just want to drive traffic to the home page or to the website in general. So that's the goal. That's what we will track. Other clients have a very specific goal in mind with their site. They want people to go and fill out the job application and click submit. They want people to go and fill out the consultation form and click submit. Or they want people to go and put something in the shopping cart and check out. If specific conversion in mind, we can set it up to track that as well. You just have to let us know when we're building a campaign so that we give you the right pixel to place on the site so that we can track it. But basically, the cross-device pixel report will track the people who click on the ad and convert, or don't click on the ad, but who still converted because they saw it. What I've got before I introduce Jason and Ashley from Bridgeport is the standard geofencing report. So this report will be given to any advertiser that does a geofencing campaign. And this basically looks just like a multi-channel report. It'll show you, we break it out two different ways. So the first thing we'll show you is let's say geofence a few different areas. Let's say we geofence, a park, a competing dealership, and an auto auction. We'll be able to show you each of those three locations, how many ads we served to people that were targeted in each location, and how many clicks we got in each location. So if you look at this example on the right, you can see we actually had two different places that we geofenced, Anson Corp and also a Sam's Club. And each location, the consumers who went to those two places and picked up in our system, you can see out of all the different ads we served on the devices we served them on, how many impressions, how many clicks, and what the click-through rate was. And again, it's a huge differentiator for us to be able to serve geofencing ads on a tablet and on a PC, because 99% of other companies that offer geofencing can only serve ad on the device the consumer had on their person when they went to the geofenced location. So this is like extended reach for the advertiser. Thank you for sitting through that. So what I want to do now is introduce Jason Lee and Ashley Roy from Bridgeport, Connecticut. I've been working with these guys for almost a year now. They are fantastic. And Jason, through people-based marketing, has developed a great campaign and relationship with BMW of Bridgeport, and he's had so much success. The client is extremely happy with the campaign. So I want to invite Jason to share with you how he pitched the product and how he was able to get this huge success in their market.
Hi, Friday. I think the key thing when we're dealing with auto dealers is that you have all that competition with Cars.com, all the money that's from radio and other platforms are going there, and those types of platforms. So Cars.com, they were very heavy on Cars.com. I basically went in with this kind of presentation that Caroline just did. But what the key was is I went in there already with I identified the target audience. We called these BMW intenders, and then I broke down how we got that 35,000. And then when they saw that 35,000, and then when they saw and they heard how we get that target audience, like Cars.com just blankets the whole area. What we told them was that, hey, this is specific BMW intenders that live within your mile radius, that meet your criteria, that aren't just going to one site after the other, but we know these are actual interested in buying BMW. That was the key one. The second one, at the end, as we start getting more into the campaign, it's the matchback report that they're able, to get all the addresses of everyone that we sent an email to, whether they click on it or not. They have actually added that to their database. And then following up on that, who clicked on their email, and they were either to track things down, actually came in, and who actually bought a car. At the end of a 3-month campaign, they saw an uptick just on people marketing of 65 new cars, 18 of them are unique, first-time buyers from them. The other 45 of them are in their current email list, but they like how the message stays consistent throughout the 3 months. So they're averaging about 6 to 7 cars a month based on that. And the next discussions we're having is how to add video to it now. So kind of did a test into it, and they signed into an annual toward end for 18. So.
I had any questions that came through. Carolyn, did you have any other slides that you wanted to show everybody?
I haven't seen any questions either. A lot of times I'll get a bunch of texts during these calls, but I haven't gotten any questions. But I do want to share that we are going to put together a case study for this BMW success. And I was, really fortunate to work through Jason at the very beginning when we first pitched this to the client. He had, I think, maybe a 1 or 2 month test, and then the client has just seen the better and better. And one of the things that really hooks the client was our reporting and tracking capabilities with the foot traffic attribution and the matchback reporting and being able to prove that our campaign is working. That's so key for advertisers because they keep spending so much money and they have no way to know whether or not it's working. So I think people's marketing has been so successful with auto dealers because of that. And so we will work on a case study for all of you guys, and I think we might even be able to get a testimonial from BMW of Bridgeport, which would be great for you to have as you're pitching to dealers in your own local markets.
I think it's key to note that, and your managers may get a little mad at you, but they have no radio campaign. They actually pulled off for radio and spent all their money on the digital world. So what I basically went with is I just saw what their digital campaigns were. This Bridge came in, it's a better product. We haven't had a discussion about coming back on radio quite yet. I think that will come in time. But to me, that shows that we're not losing the money to somebody else in the market, which I think is important, that they still have a relationship with this company, and they turn to us. And I think that's the key, because they're spending about the same as they would in radio. They're about $3,000, $4,000 a month just on Bridge.
Somebody also asked if you could share the actual media kit that you presented to the client. So if you can that on Facebook after the call, or if you want to send it to me and then I can post it on there, I think that's great for everyone just to take a look at and see.
Sure. Just to let you know, in our area in Fairfield County, in the 25-mile radius, we have 6 BMW dealerships. That's a struggle here, and they're all actually independent owners, and there's 6, I believe, in the 25, 30-mile radius.
That would cover everything so far. Thanks for joining us today. Unless you had anything else that you wanted to show us, Carolyn, I think that we're good to wrap up.
Awesome. Great. Well, thank you guys. Have a great weekend.